Good morning. I'm sorry I can't be there today. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I had to go home and I have to go to the doctor today to go with the COVID protocols. So, you're going to go through the things with the substitute today. I'm not going to the doctor till about noon, so you can Google chat me or email me if you have any questions, but hopefully it'll go pretty smooth today. We got a little bit of snow yesterday, so it looks pretty beautiful outside, but the mask break is not going to happen, so sorry about that. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to do election update, color in those last few states for the Electoral College cartogram, and then turn that in. We're going to review claim, evidence, and reasoning. You're going to be writing a letter to a politician. I'll explain that. You're going to be looking up your representatives and finding some issues to write about, just brainstorming today. We're going to talk about westward expansion, and then you're going to do a pieces of land assignment. And that won't be due until Monday, so you'll start that off today. Late work was updated Monday at about 7 a.m. And then I've graded your tests from last week. The grades are in Google Classroom, but they're not in Student View because there's a lot of relearning that needs to be done, and I didn't want to put the grades in. I wanted to give you a chance to do a little bit of relearning before I put those grades in. The relearning is easy relearning, like you need to expand upon your answer, and I'll talk about that more at the claim, evidence, and reasoning piece. Most of it isn't that you didn't know it, it's that you need to reason out your answers a little bit more, which is a skill that we're all working on. Reminders, you need to wash your hands, avoid turkeys, avoid murders of crows. So these are very good advice for you. We have two goals this unit. One, you're going to be writing a letter to a politician expressing your views on a topic using claim, evidence, and reasoning, backing it up with specific evidence. We got a lot of letters back last year, which was super exciting. This is something we're going to be working on for a few weeks. It's not due anytime soon. We'll do a lot of revising so it looks very professional before we send it out. So there's a lot of skills involved in this one, so we'll just start that off today. And then the other thing we're going to look at, we kind of ended with the presidential election and how the government was formed. We're going to get into how the U.S. became the size of the country it is. The U.S. is a huge country and got a lot of land, and we got it very fast. And we're going to talk about how we got that land in the different ways. But first, our agenda is that election update. So here's Electoral College Map. I know this is small. You can bring one up on your Chromebooks, but go ahead and get out your Electoral College maps, and you can pause this so you can go through the Electoral College maps. Please make sure that if you're using the class colored pencils, they're in a teal box near my desk, that they're sanitized before you hand them out. So we were waiting on a few states. The race has been called for Joe Biden, 290 to 214. There's still, I think, 34 electoral votes that haven't been completely called. We have some extremely close states that are going to happen. You see the popular vote count down here, 76 million, almost 77 million to almost 72 million down here, 50.8% to 47.5%. More people voted in this presidential election than ever in U.S. history, which is awesome. When we looked at this map Wednesday morning, Wisconsin and Michigan were light pink, and then slowly through the day, as they started to count the mail-in ballots, they started to turn dark blue. So those are changes. Georgia was light pink, that's turning blue. It's very, very close. So anytime in election, North Carolina is going to Trump, Alaska is going to Trump. Anytime an election comes within 1% of each other, that you're going to do a recount. So this is normal. So you've been hearing on the news that President Trump is filing lawsuits to do recounts, and that's completely normal. That's going to happen. So they're going to recount those because they're so very close. I think Wisconsin not as close. Arizona super close. So they'll do a recount there. So that's pretty normal. What is not normal are the accusations of fraud coming from President Trump. We have international election observers who go to the polls and kind of watch over things, and they have not seen, they did not see any fraud happen. So, and there hasn't been any specific evidence that has been brought forth that there has been fraud. So we'll kind of wait and kind of see. But President Trump has not conceded the race and not said that Biden has won, although I guess I don't know a news outlet that does not say Biden has won. President Trump would need to make up a lot of states and find a lot of a lot of wrong ballots in order to make up that the lead that Biden has. So we'll kind of watch and see what happens. What was the other thing I was going to say? I don't remember. Okay, yeah. So go ahead, pause this, color in your map, and then hand it in to the substitute when you are done, please. We already have some hanging out outside. It's cool to see how people represented the shapes in different ways. Okay, second thing on our agenda is claim, and this is going to be a review for most of you. You've done this in science, you've done it in ELA, and claim, evidence, and reasoning is a skill that we use in, I think, a ton in our everyday life. Think about if you get your cell phone bill and you're overcharged, you have to call the cell phone company. You have to make a claim that you're overcharged. You have to give evidence on why you think you're overcharged, and then you have to sit there and argue with them on why you've been overcharged. That's your reasoning. We use this skill constantly. We just don't call it claim, evidence, and reasoning. So we're going to use this skill when we write a letter to a politician. When we make a claim, we want to make sure our claim is biased. And this sounds really weird because we talk a lot about we don't want news to be biased and we want to kind of be in the middle of information. But when it comes to history, we make a lot of arguments, and you want to be biased. You want to be arguing for something, for what happened in history. And so it needs to be something that can be proven true and somebody can argue against. So you can't just say we have trees, right? That's a fact. You could say trees are wonderful, and then somebody could argue that they're not wonderful. Why they would do that, I don't know. Then you need to support your claim with evidence, and we'll be doing this in our letter. I'll help you find evidence to support your claim. It needs to be a fact or a piece of data from a reliable source. You did a lot of work finding reliable resources last year in 7th grade Media Lit. And then this is the hard part. You need to provide reasoning. And I'm going to give you an example of people's tests. So level 4, you had to give a reason why the Electoral College should go away. So somebody might say, it gives too much power to swing states. That's an excellent claim, but you need to reason it out. You need to tell me, what do you mean they get too much power? Why would that be a bad thing? And so that reasoning out, sometimes it's hard to pull it out of your brain a little bit. So that's something that a lot of people are still working on as a hardcore skill. So, and I'll help you with that with your letter reasoning too. So you're going to make a claim in your letter. You will give evidence, but then you have to talk about your evidence and your claim and kind of reason those things out for the person that you're writing to. So we'll talk about that more. Okay, so now you are going to open up your Google Classroom and you'll find this November 11th Group 1 in class. And you have this claim worksheet that you're going to be working on right now. And again, this is review for most people. So the first part, you're making these claims stronger. I give you pretty much a fact. You need to change it to make it biased. Make it something you can argue for or against. So for instance, this first one says some trees are being cut down to make paper. An easy way to make this biased is you could say it is horrible that some trees are being cut down to make paper. That would make it biased, and somebody could argue the opposite point is that it's great that trees are being cut down to make paper. I mean, you could argue both ways on that one. So that's what you're doing in that first part. Second part, I give you a topic, and you are going to make a claim for that topic. Okay, and then the third part, pick one of the claims from above, and then you type the claim and then give me 2 pieces of evidence. And it doesn't have to be, facts you look up. It can just be evidence, your reasoning kind of, or I guess evidence that you have in your head is totally fine. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, and like maybe 10 to 12 minutes to finish up that claim worksheet. Go for it, and then turn it in.